guys? My name is Lily. I'm a fiber artist and knitwear designer and I like to make things. Hi guys, I'm back. As some of you guys might know, I've been doing 12 days of Vlogmas on my channel, which has been so much fun. I've been vlogging my little fiber artist life and it's been so much fun like hanging out with you guys. But for today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different for all the people who aren't as much here for the vlogs, which is totally fine. I wanted to throw in a little crochet tutorial. So for today's video, we're gonna be making this fuzzy beanie all by ourselves. It is a super easy and beginner friendly crochet project. And it's also a great Christmas gift. I thought this would be like perfect for this season. If you have a special someone you want to give a gift to, I think this is a really good tutorial for that. As a matter of fact, my boyfriend saw this and he's literally stealing it from me right away, which he looked really cute in it, so that's okay. So yeah, this is a super great Christmas gift kind of project. It also took me about 2 hours, so it's super fast. If you're watching this on December 23rd and you're like me, you could probably whip something together really quick. And without further ado, let's just get right into it. For this tutorial, you're gonna need a pile of scrap yarn. Something important I forgot to mention is that the yarn needs to be a natural fiber yarn. I'm using a wool and silk blend yarn from my shop. This is just because the treatment we're going to be doing to the yarn works best on natural fibers as opposed to acrylic. It can work on acrylic, but I highly recommend a wool blend yarn for this. Or just whatever color of yarn you would like to use. It doesn't matter at all. If you want it to be one color, that's totally fine. I'm using the scrap yarn that I have lying around. This yarn is DK weight and it's 246 yards per 100 grams if that helps. And it requires a 4.5mm crochet hook. So then the next thing you're gonna need is a 4.5mm crochet hook, a tape measure, a darning needle, and scissors. And then the most important thing is a dog grooming brush. This is literally like $8 from Amazon, so don't worry, it's not that expensive and it's gonna totally transform this project. So I'm gonna have that linked below and let's get started. So I got my first color of yarn, which is this light blue, and we're gonna start by chaining 51. We're gonna start by making a slip knot. I'm gonna show you guys how to do this because it's a beginner friendly tutorial. So you're gonna grab the end of your yarn and then with your left hand, you're gonna grab like that tail end like that. And then you're gonna stick your thumb and your index finger like this. And you're gonna turn it over like that and then grab the live end of the yarn. So not this like loose end here, grab the other end and pull through. And that's how you make a slip knot. So once you made that slip knot, we're gonna chain 51. $50, 51. Okay, just chain 51, and this is going to be the height of your hat. So like, it's gonna fold over like this, and it's gonna be like a long panel that goes around your head. So this is gonna be about 12 inches. That's how tall I want my hat to be, but feel free to make it shorter or longer if you're like more advanced and can like sort of adjust patterns as you go. But I just chained 51, and the next step is to place a half double crochet in every stitch of the chain. And I'm gonna quickly show you guys how to do that. To half double crochet, you're just gonna yarn over on your hook like so, and then you're gonna skip that first stitch and put a half double crochet in the next stitch over. You only do this at the beginning of the row, by the way. So we're skipping that first stitch, and we're yarning over, and then we're gonna stick our crochet hook in that second chain, and then we're gonna pull that yarn through like so, and then we're gonna yarn over again and pull through all 3 of those loops. And that's how you do half double crochet. So just yarn over, put your crochet hook in that chain, pull the yarn through, and then pull through all 3 loops. So we're just gonna do half double crochets in every chain for the entire row. So once you reach the end of the row and you put half double crochets in every chain, so that's gonna be 50 half double crochets, you're gonna chain 1 and then turn your work. And we're gonna create a ribbing effect for this beanie. That's pretty much how beanies look. So to do a ribbing and crochet, you're gonna place a half double crochet in the back loops only. So instead of pushing your hook through both chains, like so, you're gonna put your half double crochets just in the back loop. We're gonna yarn over and we're gonna put our hook in the back loop only. And then we're gonna pull through, and then we're gonna pull through all 3 chains. So as you can see, it's sort of like coming off the chain. So we're just gonna place half double crochets in the back loops only for the entire row. Just got my last half double crochet in the back loops only, and as you can see, it has already that ribbing effect. So once you get to the end of the second row, you're gonna chain 1 once again and do the exact same thing. So you're just gonna place half double crochets in the back loops only of every single row until your panel is the circumference of your head. My head is about 22 inches in circumference. I measured it. So you're just gonna keep going until this panel is about 22 inches, or if you have like a bigger or smaller head, the size of your head. So I'm just gonna crank away, back loops only, until this panel is 22 inches long. And I'll let you know exactly how many rows that is in just a second. And since this is a scrap yarn project, I want to show you guys my little hack for doing scrap yarn projects so I don't have to weave in a million ends. So I'm deciding to go in next with this like emerald green, and once I'm ready to change colors, I'm just gonna cut my yarn and I'm gonna do what's called an unbreakable knot. So basically I'm gonna grab the end of my first color and I'm gonna grab the end of my second color and place it above like this, going from the other direction. And all you have to do is tie 2 knots. So I'm gonna grab this yarn and fold it over like that, and then grab the other end and tie a little knot like so, and pull it real tight. And then I'm gonna grab this end and put it over like that, and then tie a little knot like so. And then once you got those 2 knots, pull it together. And now you have a super strong knot that is not gonna break in your project. And then you're just gonna cut these little excess ends off. Boom. That's how I do like color work in my work, and then I don't have a bunch of ends to weave in. So I love this hack, and that's what I'm gonna be doing for all my colors in this beanie tutorial. Once again, I'm just gonna keep crocheting away until this panel is 22 inches wide. Okay, just finished the bulk of the beanie. This is what it looks like. It looks so cute already. And like I said, it just needs to wrap around your head relatively tightly. Like, you obviously want the beanie, this is so silly, but this is like, you want to put it on your head and see like how the stretch feels going all the way around your head. And worry not if your head is a different size or you don't know the circumference of your head. Don't worry, this is really stretchy and the average head is 22 to 24 inches anyways, so it's okay if it's not perfect. Do as I say and it will most likely work for you, so don't worry about measurements or anything. But just finished this. I still have my yarn attached at the end, so don't cut off just yet. So I went for a total of 53 rows. And laying flat, this is actually about 16.5 inches. The most important thing is that it stretches to your head size, because with a beanie, you obviously don't want it to be falling off your head. You want it to be relatively tight. And the next step is gonna be to single crochet these 2 sides together. Some people do slip stitches. I'm choosing to do a single crochet for this project because I want the beanie to have vertical stretch as well as horizontal stretch, and slip stitches don't have hardly any stretch. So grab my hook, and I've chained 1 at the end of my row, and I'm just gonna stick it in that first stitch right here. And then I'm gonna grab the other side, and I'm gonna stick it in this first stitch right here. And then I'm gonna yarn over, pull through both sides of the panel, and I have 2 loops. And then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through both loops. So that is how you do a single crochet. Just one more time. So I'm gonna stick my crochet hook through both sides of the panels, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. And that is how you single crochet. So I'm just gonna single crochet in every stitch all the way down this panel, and I'll meet you right back. So I just finished single crocheting both sides together, and now we're gonna cut off our yarn. So just chain 1 and cut your yarn, and you wanna leave quite a bit of yarn left over because we're gonna use that to sew around the top of this and create the scrunch effect of the beanie. I gave myself a lot of yarn. I'm gonna cut off and then just pull that whole tail through. Amazing. This tutorial is so easy, guys. Like, we're almost done. So this is what it's looking like. And then on the inside, this is what our seam is looking like. And then the next step is the most exciting one. The next step is the fuzzifying step. So you're gonna grab your dog grooming brush, and literally all we're gonna do is start scratching our yarn like that. And it takes a while, guys, so don't be discouraged. But all you're gonna do is press firmly and scratch that shit. But you can already see it's like starting to fuzz. And I know it feels scary, guys, but I promise this is a real genuine technique that people use, and the payoff is so freaking worth it. And just to answer a few questions, this technique works best on natural fibers. So I would strongly recommend using a wool, silk type of yarn. I am using a wool and silk yarn from my shop. I actually sell it in case anyone would like to use the exact yarn that I'm using. And it can work on acrylic, but it doesn't doesn't work as well. So you just need to basically scratch this whole thing with your dog grooming brush evenly around the entire panel, and I will meet you back. So I just finished. As you can see, it's totally fluffy. It looks so cute. A few things I wanted to note. First of all, this took me about 25 minutes. So if you wanted like a time reference of how long this would take. The other thing I wanted to note, the most important thing in this process is to make sure everything is evenly fluffed. So just try your best to like do this around the whole project as evenly as possible. And then the last thing I want to note is I'm actually choosing to leave the inside regular, and that is because, so I like the contrast between these two. So I'm choosing to leave the inside unfluffed, but if you want to fluff the inside, please feel free to do that now. I just think it adds like a cute, like cool little contrast. Also, this is how much fiber came off of my yarn. Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to note, which I didn't mention before, is to make sure you do the fluffifying on the right side of your work. So the wrong side has the seam that we made earlier, and I had flipped it inside out. So this is the right side and this is the side I fluffed, just so you know. And then the last step is to add the scrunch to the top part of the beanie. So we're gonna flip our work inside out again. And then we're gonna grab our darning needle, we're gonna thread our darning needle, and then all we're gonna do is sew this thread all the way around the top of the brim and pull it tight to create a scrunch effect. So we're just gonna stick it basically anywhere it fits and sew all the way around. And just to give you a little taste, once you pull it, it scrunches up like that. And that is how you create a little beanie effect. So I'm just gonna do this all the way around the top. Yay, and then once we get to the end, all you do is just literally scrunch it up. So just pull it as tight as you can. It is like the shape of a beanie now, and then when you turn it inside out, this is what it's gonna look like. And so now we have this as tight as we can get it. And the last step is going to be to sew like through this hole to make sure it's like totally tight when you flip it inside out. And just pull it as tight as you can when you do that. I'm finally satisfied with how thoroughly I've gone through this little hole and tightened it. And once you're done with that, the final step is to weave your ends in. So I actually have an even smaller darning needle I like to use to weave my ends in because I can like get in between the stitches, like go inside the yarn, and it's like an unbreakable weave end. So I threaded my smaller darning needle, and then when I weave my ends in, I like to go obviously in the stitches, and then I actually like to go back and forth over my yarn. So I'm just gonna go back the same way over my yarn, and I like to do it 3 times, and then you're just gonna cut off. Now I'm gonna do this other end. This is the last end. I'm gonna make sure to weave it in on the wrong side. Just pull it a little tight, cut it off, and then when you flip it inside out, this is what it looks like. It looks so good. And I just wanted to also note, so at the top, you can kind of see the stitches that I did. So I just am going to like quickly fuzzify the top to make sure everything is totally blended at the top of this beanie. And we're done. And that is the fuzzy beanie tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you have any questions about the tutorial, drop them in the comments. I will be waiting for you guys. I will answer your questions. And if you do make this, comment or tag me on Instagram at Fubizu. I would love to see it. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.